Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. Happy Labor Day, everyone. Happy Labor Day. Man, I had a pretty eventful weekend. Well, at least on Saturday I did. Long story short, I ended up doing the gig that I was telling you all about. So I did that midday. Basically, long story short, it was like a bachelor party that I created like a customized mystery experience that was bachelor party themed. So it was definitely unique, a little different than what we usually do, but hey, I appreciate the opportunity. Y'all know how it is in this season, right? And so I appreciate the opportunity. The audience or the group, they were a good group. It was co-ed. It was it was fun. It was friends, everything like that. Well, they were friends, and then we even provided the catering and everything like that. And so I think everything went really well. They seemed pleased, and everybody seemed to have a good time. So that was a blessing, and everything like that. Then I had to rush back home because y'all know I went live with Miss Stephanie. So that interview was very nice. She's very wise, and I just was kind of like trying to let it all soak in, all the things that she was saying and whatnot. But I just love the confidence, right? The confidence, in herself and God and her gift and all those things. I think that was a beautiful thing to see. So you guys can check that out. It is up on our YouTube and here on Facebook, as well as should be in our playlist on GodSexandLove.com. Right? Let me try to be extra. Look. There you go. GodSexandLove.com. I guess I should get better about that. Miss Worldly Church Girl herself, Miss Lillian, she showed me up that time when I visited her, because she was like doing all the bells and whistles and whatnot. And I'm like, man, I really be slacking on my lives with y'all, but anywho, so that was Saturday. It was quite eventful, but it was still good overall. And like I said, it was a blessing. Both of those gigs were a blessing, and greatly appreciated. Just God showing up and showing out as He do. And that's the thing. It was like right when, I think I told you all about it last time I was live. I shared with you all that basically, I was thinking about trying to get another job or some type of something else to do, aside from all the other things I do. But I mean, hey, maybe God is showing me just to be patient, to just allow Him to do His thing. Because again, I think the more that I'm in this situation, the more that I see like God move, and that's the honest truth. So on one hand, it's weird to say I'm living by faith, and like literally mean it. But at the end of the day, I mean, He hasn't steered me wrong yet. He hasn't failed me yet. And so, so I'm thankful and I'm grateful, and I'm still here. I'm still here and everything like that. And so, yesterday I didn't do too much. I mean, it was Sunday, and we just kind of relaxed or whatnot, because like I said, I was running around so much on Saturday that Sunday I just chilled and whatnot. Hubby and I had some burgers, and that was our Sunday. Aside from, did I do any work yesterday? I probably did like a little stuff here and there, but anyway. So when I woke up this morning, I did my prayer meditation, and somehow it got me thinking about like taking responsibility. I think it probably was based on a conversation that my husband and I was having yesterday too. I was reminded of that, and then that ultimately made me think about taking responsibility, which ultimately made me think about this topic of the blame game. I guess before I get into the verses that I came across this morning, I guess I want to kind of like let's reflect on the first blame game, at least the one that I can. I believe that it was probably the first blame game. Y'all remember, that account in Genesis, Adam and Eve, Genesis 3. Well, I want to take a look at it. So I wrote down the key points, and let's just reflect on this, y'all. The blame game. So, let me go ahead and read this here. So, God clearly asked Adam and Eve, right? Or he asked Adam, right? When he found them and whatnot. And he asked Adam, hast thou eaten of the tree? Check out Adam's response. The woman who thou gavest me gave me of the tree, and I did eat. Okay. So, I guess this is the first account in history of someone blaming God. Taking what God said was good and now blaming God, putting it back into his face and say, the woman you gave me gave me of the tree. And then ultimately he still had to admit that I did eat. So I found that to be interesting. Then God asks Eve, he goes, what is this that thou hast done? Let me hold on now. let me elaborate on that, or no, let me be extra. I ended up underlining that word thou because he was very specific. What is it, right? What is this that thou hast done? And then the woman says, the serpent beguiled me. Then she goes, and I did eat. Listen. The blame game. You done blame God. You done blame the serpent. And ultimately, I guess you didn't blame yourself, but at least you admitted that you did eat, which was the question. But again, we do that now, right? We do that right now. I guess that was the inspiration as well, because like I said, at some point my husband and I I can't remember exactly what led us to the conversation, but at some point he said something along the lines of, well, this is why people I guess take issue with the Bible because of what other people did to misuse the Bible, basically, is what he was saying. And I'm like, well, just because somebody misused the Bible don't change anything about it. It doesn't change what it says that God did for us and all those different things. So you're gonna allow someone else's misuse of the Bible to separate you from God? To me, that's the blame game, and an excuse. I think the reality is either one or the other. It's like you just don't want to believe, or you just don't take it as seriously, or whatever the case is. Like, if nothing else from Genesis 3, at least at the end of the situation, even though they did play the blame game, they at least still admitted that they ate, right? So in some way they took a responsibility. And so let's think about that. So Proverbs 28 and 13, it says, whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. Well, do you want mercy? Do you want to prosper? Because this is what it says we need to do. Concealing our transgressions, even though a lot of times we do feel as if by keeping things concealed and under the wraps, we feel like we're getting over, right? We're getting over on something. We're getting over on people. Maybe we feel like we're getting over on God. But now you might get over on some people for a short period of time, in my humble opinion, according to the word. But you'll never get over on God. And so let's just go ahead and just get that out of our minds. Because God knows, right? God knows. But again, yeah, if we keep in our minds that, hey, you're not necessarily going to always get over on people either, that might be something to help us today. Because, it says the truth will come to the light, all things will be revealed and all those different type of things. I mean, different verses say things along those lines. And so, what's done in the dark will come to the light and all this. So, again, I guess if you keep these things in mind, then you'll understand that there's no need to conceal your transgressions, right? There's no need to try to play the blame game and, put it on God, put it on the devil, or put it on Satan or whatever, when at the end of the day, you still make the choice. Like, you make the choice at the end of the day. But anyway, Ephesians 4:31 and 32 says, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. I know we reflect on this a lot, and this idea of God forgiving us, and again, grace and mercy and all those things, but we don't want to give that to other people. We want to hold other people accountable. We don't want to forgive. We want to hold a grudge. We want to do everything opposite of what the word tells us to do. And then we wonder why there's no change, right? We wonder why things are the way they are and all these different things. I don't know. Like I tell you guys all the time, a lot of times when I'm reading these different verses, I'm thinking to myself, man, like, what would this world look like for people to do the things that the word says, to live the way that the word says? Like, what would that actually look like? Now, I don't know if there's ever been a society that did this fully, to actually see what that would look like. I mean, maybe that'd be a nice test experience or something. I don't know, a test experiment or something like that. That would be interesting. I don't know, Lord, are you giving me a revelation? Are you telling me something I need to try to put together? What are you saying here? But yeah, I mean, that would be interesting. I think for me, I think that would be interesting to see what a world would look like to really, really live this way and whatnot. Would it be perfect? I mean, well, we're flawed. We're not perfect. So, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I have no clue. But it's an interesting thought. So perhaps I'll keep letting it, the wheels spin, and we'll see what the Lord do. But I don't know. Like I said, these are the questions that I ask myself as I read these verses. But Proverbs 12 and 22 says, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who act faithfully are his delights. Y'all get, testy about that word abomination, right? But aside from that, right, it's interesting. You don't necessarily hear too much about, you don't hear too much about that phrase, that lying lips are an abomination. At the end of the day, I guess, as we play the blame game and whatnot, we're lying to ourselves, honestly. It's an interesting thought as well. I don't know. Y'all can let these things marinate on your heart, souls, and minds today. There's some more verses that you guys can take a look at in the Go Deeper section. But, at the end of the day, I guess I'm getting here. Let's not play the blame game, Let's take some responsibility. And as we do that, then we'll see what that other verse say here. It says that we shall see that we'll prosper, right? As we take that responsibility, we will prosper And that's the opposite of what it says here. But then we'll definitely obtain mercy, because that's what it says there. So again, y'all can let that marinate. That is the juice this morning. The Bible verse of today is John 6:35. I believe it was. It says, "And Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Mark Vivas, the host of God Breathed, a free dramatized audio Bible in bite-sized podcast chapters. I would like to invite you on a journey with me into the greatest story ever told, from Genesis 1 all the way to Revelation 22. Check the link in this podcast description, and I'll meet you there. Want to read the Bible, but you're doing the dishes? God Breathed Podcast.